Listen up, folks. I'm Dave Ramsey, and I've been following every single update coming out for 2026 that affects your money, your benefits, and your everyday life. And I have to confirm, these new USPS rules are real, they are coming, and they are going to impact more than just your mail. I know most people don't wake up thinking about postal regulations, but if you are receiving Social Security, Medicare, or even waiting for tax documents or ballots, these changes are going to hit your pocket, your health decisions, and your deadlines in ways you cannot ignore. The moment I saw these rule adjustments, I knew it wasn't just a bureaucratic shuffle. It's a ripple that touches every household depending on reliable mail delivery. And I'm going to break it down so you understand exactly what's happening, why it matters, and how you can survive and thrive financially despite these changes. First, let's get straight to Social Security. Millions of Americans, especially seniors, rely on Social Security as their primary source of income. The electronic direct deposit is great, but let's face it, the system still sends critical information through the mail. Letters about cost of living adjustments, verification requests, notices about potential overpayments, and appeals for eligibility. Under the 2026 USPS rules, first-class mail delivery standards are changing. What used to take 3 days may now take 5, 6, or even longer in rural areas. I don't care if you live in a city or a small town. If your Social Security notice comes late, that's money delayed, confusion increased, and stress amplified. I've always said financial stress is the biggest killer of personal peace and good decision-making. These postal delays are a hidden stressor that could have very real consequences. Imagine a senior living on a fixed income receiving a notice that they need to respond within 10 days. But because the USPS rules changed, the letter only arrives on day 6 or 7. That leaves them with 3 or 4 days to react, which may not be enough to gather documents, call the right offices, or make informed decisions. The system assumes you'll get it in time, but the rules no longer guarantee that. This is not a small inconvenience. This is a life-impacting delay for anyone dependent on timely government communications. That's why I'm telling you now. Assume mail will be slower and take action proactively. Don't wait for the envelope to arrive. You have to anticipate, check online accounts, and prepare ahead. Taxes are no different. Even in the digital era, the IRS still relies heavily on USPS to deliver millions of letters each year. Audit notices, identity verification requests, refund adjustments, balance due warnings, all these items are time-sensitive. The 2026 rules introduce centralized processing and reduce the number of local sorting centers. What does this mean for you? Longer travel times, slower mail, and potentially missed deadlines. And let's be honest, the IRS does not care why your response is late. Penalties, interest, and enforcement actions move forward regardless. So from a financial responsibility standpoint, you must monitor your accounts more closely than ever and anticipate delays in receiving paper correspondence. Now, let's talk Medicare, because this is where the stakes get personal. Millions of seniors depend on Medicare notices to make enrollment decisions, adjust plans, and ensure they maintain proper coverage. Missing a letter about premium changes, plan adjustments, or coverage denial can have immediate financial consequences. The new USPS rules for 2026 will affect how quickly these letters are delivered. Centralization of mail processing means some areas will experience longer delays. If you're enrolled in Medicare, you must now treat every piece of mail as urgent. Checking online portals regularly and confirming receipt of critical documents is no longer optional, it's a necessity. Failing to do so can result in missed windows, lapses in coverage, or unexpected out-of-pocket costs. Mail-in ballots are also under the spotlight. This isn't about politics, it's about logistics and timing. USPS delays can mean ballots mailed on time may arrive too late to count. Some states strictly enforce receipt deadlines, not postmarks. If voters don't anticipate the delays caused by these new rules, their ability to have their voice heard may be compromised. This has nothing to do with opinion. It's a practical reality of how the system functions. I've always said you have to plan ahead in life and money. The same principle applies here. Anticipate slower mail, plan your voting accordingly, and ensure deadlines are met. These new USPS rules aren't just about speed, they're about process and accountability. Centralizing operations, reducing local touchpoints, and restructuring delivery standards are intended to save the Postal Service money and improve efficiency in the long term. But in the short term, they introduce uncertainty for millions of Americans. And uncertainty, as I always teach, is where financial mistakes happen. When you can't rely on consistent delivery, you have to create redundancy and margin in your financial life. Track your benefits, double-check critical deadlines, and don't let late mail become a financial or legal problem. Here's an example of how these changes affect Social Security. Let's say someone receives an overpayment notice. Normally, they would have 10 days to respond. With the 2026 rules, delivery delays could reduce their effective response window to 5 or 6 days. If they miss it, the consequences are immediate: benefit suspension, bureaucratic frustration, and potentially a complicated appeals process. This is not an exaggeration. I've spoken with hundreds of people who have faced similar issues simply because of timing. Mail delays compound stress and financial strain, and stress leads to rushed decisions, mistakes, and sometimes financial loss. You have to be proactive. The same logic applies to taxes. I've met countless Americans who received an IRS notice and thought, "I'll deal with it when it arrives." Under the 2026 USPS rules, that attitude is a financial liability. If the letter arrives late and the deadline passes, penalties and interest accrue automatically. Even one missed response can snowball into bigger problems. That's why, as a rule, you must check your accounts online, verify deadlines, and act immediately when any official correspondence is received. Don't assume the system works the way it always did. These rules are a hard reminder that personal responsibility matters more than ever. Medicare and healthcare decisions amplify this issue because lives and money are directly affected. Coverage lapses due to delayed notices are not minor inconveniences. They can be financially devastating. Seniors may find themselves paying unexpected medical bills, missing treatment windows, or having to scramble to re-enroll in critical programs. USPS is adjusting delivery expectations to save money and streamline operations, but the cost of delay is being shifted to individuals. This is why planning ahead, keeping digital backups, and constantly monitoring accounts are no longer optional. They're survival strategies. Now let's zoom out for a moment. What's really happening here is a system-wide shift. The USPS is under financial pressure, so it's changing operational rules to maintain solvency. This is not inherently bad, but the consequences ripple outward. Social Security, Medicare, tax administration, and election processes all rely on timely delivery. By centralizing processing and adjusting delivery standards, the USPS is moving the risk to recipients. And while the Postal Service may argue that efficiency and cost savings justify these changes, the practical effect is that individuals have to adapt or face consequences. For everyday Americans, the takeaway is simple but critical. Don't wait for the letter to arrive. Assume it will be delayed. Check online accounts for Social Security, Medicare, IRS notifications, and election information. Maintain proactive communication channels with these agencies. If you rely solely on mail, you are exposed. Financial preparedness is not just about money in the bank. It's about anticipating systemic changes and adjusting your behavior to protect yourself. Even simple things like updating addresses, signing up for electronic notifications, and tracking mail proactively can make a huge difference. The 2026 USPS rules make these actions not just helpful, but essential. Ignoring these changes is not a harmless oversight. It's a risk that can cost you money, benefits, or peace of mind. Dave Ramsey principles always emphasize planning ahead, avoiding unnecessary risk, and creating margin in your life. In this case, margin is time. Time to respond, time to verify, and time to act before delays cause harm. Let's put some numbers to this. If the average first-class mail delay increases by 2 days nationwide, that's potentially thousands of letters arriving late every day. Multiply that across Social Security recipients, Medicare beneficiaries, taxpayers, and voters. It's millions of individuals affected. Even if only a fraction experience critical timing issues, the financial and emotional consequences are real. This is why you must treat these USPS rule changes seriously, even if they seem bureaucratic on the surface. Another key point is communication. Many people simply don't know these rules are changing because the announcements are technical, gradual, and not widely publicized. By the time the public realizes the effect, it may already be too late for some critical deadlines. This is why I'm speaking directly to you. You have to be the one paying attention. Trusting that the system will work like it always has is no longer a safe assumption. You have to take ownership of your mail, your notifications, and your deadlines. The impact on mail-in ballots is especially urgent. Voting by mail is legal and widely used, but delays in delivery could disenfranchise voters if ballots arrive late. Some states enforce strict receipt deadlines, meaning a ballot postmarked on time may not count if the postal system delays delivery. Planning ahead, sending ballots early, or using verified drop-off options is now not just recommended. It is critical. Protecting your voice in elections is directly linked to understanding and adapting to these USPS changes. In conclusion, 2026 is bringing a shift that touches every corner of personal finance and civic responsibility. Social Security, Medicare, taxes, and mail-in ballots all depend on timely USPS delivery, and these new rules introduce delays that can have serious consequences. The common thread is personal responsibility. Check your accounts, track your mail, plan ahead, and don't rely on systems to work the way they always have. If you want to protect your benefits, your finances, and your rights, you have to take control now. This is not fear-mongering, it's reality, and being prepared is the best way to maintain peace of mind and financial stability in the year ahead. The rules are set, the changes are happening, and your action or inaction will determine the outcome. Don't wait for a missed notice to create a crisis. Take control, monitor your mail, and use digital tools to supplement traditional delivery. Build time margins for responses, double-check deadlines, and proactively communicate with Social Security, Medicare, and tax authorities. The USPS is evolving, and if you don't evolve with it, you could face unnecessary stress, financial penalties, or missed opportunities. Remember, financial peace is not about luck. It's about preparation, awareness, and action. Start now, because 2026 waits for no one, and these USPS changes are already in motion.